Seriously. Seriously. This is the week of a Saturn station, and Saturn stations are time to take things seriously. I'm Armand Diaz with your forecast for the week of September 16th, 2019. It is a work-oriented week. Work is your one-word mantra for the week. You just want to go out there and shoulder responsibilities, take up the burden, do what you've got to do, even though there may be delays and hesitations and things may not flow all that easily. This is the way Saturn works, you know. When Saturn stations, or when Saturn is in a prominent place in your chart, you have additional responsibilities. You have to step up, and yet Saturn also makes it difficult, also puts up resistance. So you have, on the one hand, the pressure to get stuff done and the resistance to doing it. This is not easy. But what do you want to do? Work. That's your one-word mantra. You go through it. You know, this is not a time to say, well, I'm not going to, it's not working, you know, I'm trying, but I'm not getting anywhere, so I'm just going to back away. Don't do that. This is okay, that's a delay, that's a setback, that's a problem, and you work through it. We're going to have some good opportunities to get things moving too. But the beginning of the week, Monday and Tuesday, probably going to be a little bit tough. Monday, the moon is void for a good period of time. I think after about noon Eastern time, we're going to have a moon void. So you sort of get that sense of like, got to do something. The moon's last aspect is a square to Pluto. There's a little bit of pressure on you right there. And then you got a void moon. You know, take care of routine tasks, take it kind of easy. Tuesday, the moon is in Taurus, which is nice, heading towards a meeting with Uranus. Now, the moon and Uranus and Taurus are trying to shake you out of routine, trying to get you a little bit of freedom, trying to get you to maybe enjoy yourself, have a little bit of space. And that's the exact opposite of what Saturn's stationing to go direct in Capricorn early hours of Wednesday is trying to do. Saturn is trying to constrain and constrict you. So on the one hand, the lunar energy is saying, let's break free. The Saturnian energy is pushing inwards. This time around, I think the Saturnian energy probably has the advantage of you. Who knows how it's going to play out for each of us, but that's a recipe for frustration and maybe a little bit of irritability, having pressure coming in this way. At the same time, we have the sort of freedom push outwards. So you want to take that with a little bit of caution, probably a day to work and maybe even play alone. Tuesday is, I'm not thinking cooperative energy is the most powerful thing going on Tuesday. Now on Wednesday, on the other hand, we have, yes, the Saturn station is exact in the early hours of Wednesday. If you're in Europe, it'll be in the morning time. And of course, it's going to color the entire day. It colors Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It really colors the whole week. But the aspects on Wednesday are pretty flowing, pretty helpful. So, you know, while on the one hand, the pressure is really strong at this time, the ability to maybe push forward and get a little bit of movement is actually not so bad. So, yeah, I think that Wednesday might be kind of a good day for a lot of projects and so on. It's a great time to bring projects to a conclusion because we're also coming into the third quarter moon, the last quarter moon, which is exact on Saturday. So, but it makes the whole week a time of assessment and evaluation, time to finish things up. A Mars-Pluto trine will really help you with precision work, as will the sun at the end of Virgo. So, you know, you could really do a lot. It's a sort of hunker down, take up the project. You know, this is a sort of watchmaker kind of precision sort of transit. Or, you know, I mean, for that matter, it could also be, you know, moving big, heavy things, but doing so, you know, it's a constructive type of energy. All right, so that's Wednesday. Thursday, again, we're going to wind up with a pretty long moon void. It's a good day to just continue with things, work on projects and so on that are already underway. Friday, the moon goes into Gemini, and Friday and Saturday, we're in this last quarter moon period. It's a time of assessment and evaluation. With Saturn stationing, it's very likely that we're going to be very critical. And with the sun at the very last degrees of Virgo, again, there's a sort of critical reserved kind of energy. But the Gemini moon is trying to sort of loosen things up, and the Gemini moon will excite a Jupiter-Neptune square that is exact on Saturday. Now, this is most likely going to play out at the collective level. It's an aspect that tends to favor more progressive, liberal sorts of social, political causes. It's the kind of aspect that is very likely to kind of in its own way help us out in terms of moving some of those agendas forward, at least temporarily. It's a good thing to keep your eyes on what's going on in the political world as we approach the weekend. It also kind of gets us to be a little bit more flexible in terms of our assessment of things. This is a time when we're supposed to be assessing matters and deciding what to do, last quarter moon, and it helps to have a little bit of this flexibility there from Jupiter, Neptune, and from the moon in Gemini. You know, the sun in Virgo wants a very detailed accounting. The moon in Gemini is sort of willing to play with the facts. And now that Mercury and Venus are in Libra, we have an easier time maybe negotiating, being diplomatic. You know, not exactly an invitation for you to lie or make stuff up, but, you know, there's a potential for a little bit of compromise. Don't throw away your core value of what you're really looking for, but you can be a little bit diplomatic about things with these aspects in place. So that's something to keep in mind. It's a pretty good time to assess and evaluate and see what's going on. We may be a little bit overly critical. I would say Friday, maybe Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Good nights to get out. That Gemini influence, very helpful. You know, the last quarter moon, we still have a little bit of energy in the lunar cycle there. It sounds pretty good. Now, Sunday, the moon goes into Cancer, and Sunday into Monday the following week, Monday the 23rd, we have the sun at the very, very last degree of Virgo. You know, that's the end of summer. Well, we'll talk about that next week. And we have the moon in Cancer on Sunday. And so if we had a little bit of flexibility and variation from late Thursday through Saturday night and into earliest hours of Sunday, then I think that the pendulum swings back rapidly with the moon in Cancer, and we become more protective, more cautious, a little bit more reserved, more likely to stay closer to home than we've been for the last few days. So the overall flow of the week is we start with that edginess, the edginess that hits you with Saturn stations. Again, be careful over things like minor colds and little bugs that go around when Saturn stations. We have a little bit of irritation and a little bit of weight, you know, resistance Monday, Tuesday. Things start to move a little bit on Wednesday, Thursday, you sort of continue on. Friday, Saturday, bargaining, movement, socializing, that sort of thing. And then Sunday, you're right back to responsibilities and a little bit of the Saturnian heaviness, perhaps as much as there was earlier in the week. It's, you know, it's a time when you have to look and see what really needs to be done and what you can do about it. All right, it's a serious week. It's a very serious week. After the sort of confusing first couple of weeks of September, after the tumultuous kind of energy at the beginning of September, this is a much more practical, much easier to get things done week. As I said last week, with the addition of some planets in air signs, we actually have more of a balance in the sky, and we are paradoxically more grounded for having less Earth in the sky. We're a little bit more balanced. So it's a pretty good week for doing stuff. It's a serious week. It's a work-oriented week. It's a time to recognize resistances and to work through them. And we'll finish up summertime and get into the earliest part of autumn on next week's forecast. Bye-bye.